Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. Steve and I are back as we continue our look into the Hammer horror series of films with the old dark house. In England, an American car salesman ends up spending a stormy night at the mysterious and deadly mansion of a client's family. And I forgot to look up box office stuff, but it's not very reliable back then. Well, here we are back again, and yeah, it's a bit of a different one, this, isn't it?
Yeah, I had to, like I said, I had to question: is this actually Hammer at first? Because I thought this is a comedy. From the opening, credits, I thought this music's too bright and cheerful for it to be a Hammer horror.
And the animation and everything is just completely
Animation,
different feel.
yeah, and they actually gave the credit, didn't they, in the opening credits to the animator, which I thought was
I like the way he painted on the
with the hairy
acetate.
hand.
Yep,
Yeah,
but the zombie hand sort of thing, or
yeah. Yeah, it's very, very clever, yeah, I mean they've got quite a well-known cast for the time, and of course William Castle, director, he was responsible for the original 13 Ghosts and House on Haunted Hill, which of course were remade later, I think by Blumhouse, wasn't it? It was by Blumhouse, wasn't
it was released on Amazon though, so it's like only another collaboration sort of thing.
yeah, but no, and if you look at his credits with William Castle, he was quite a well sought after director by the looks of it. Because at one point he was directing 6+ films a year, which is some going really. I
Hmm.
mean, you wouldn't get that this sort of day and age, would you?
No. It's an interesting one for Hammer to be involved in. You almost get the feeling with some of their movies they're putting the feelers out so they don't get typecast. It's almost
Yeah,
it's like they're trying to reach as wide an audience as possible rather than sticking to what they do best.
mm,
Now, this is a fun movie, don't get me wrong, but it's not one you instantly associate with Hammer horror.
no, no, you wouldn't think of it in a list of Hammer horror films. Um, But I did wonder why it comes up as a William Castle stroke Hammer production. It doesn't outrightly say a Hammer horror production.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, Hammer Films is wide ranging.
Mm,
Hammer Films themselves. The only thing is that we remember Hammer horror. That's the genre. Their subgenre that's stuck throughout the ages. Most of the rest of their films, apart from maybe a couple of Sherlock Holmes ones, have been forgotten.
mm,
But Hammer Films were doing adventure series, crime series. They weren't doing a lot of comedy.
no, no.
It's one thing you never associate Hammer with is comedy. It's a
If they've done this one as a base for something in the future, was there anything in the future films that took into comedy and horror comedy? I don't know.
I think they've just come in as a distributor. I don't think they've had any creative input in this. I think
Mm,
they've just come in the back end as just uh, put some funding in and get their name on it.
yeah. Because it's none of their usual actors,
No,
that star in most of their films.
camera work's different.
Yeah,
I think this was originally shot in black and white.
right.
I saw some stills. I think it was originally
Well, how did
shot in
they?
black and white, but it's not Technicolor.
No.
So I don't know what effects they've used
Oh,
to colorize it.
um, the, yeah. The
Gotta love Winter.
in the original film, 1932, because this was a remake. Boris Karloff played in it. He played the butler.
All right.
Hmm.
But yeah, from the opening credits, you're just like this. I had to stop and I had to go and double check, like you did.
Yeah.
Just go, have I got the right movie? I'm sure I saved the right one. And then when you're going down, I'm cross-referencing the actors and the director just to make sure.
Yeah. The I did read that when it was released in 1963, and the Board of Film Censors wouldn't let it go through as a one for sort of family viewing. It was an X-rated film,
This
and
one?
yeah, and it wasn't actually released in the UK until 1966 because of that. Where it had gone through lots of cuts, and finally it got an A certificate. So it then later on in its life, by the time it reached 1996, I think I recall, it received the actual original movie that was classified as an X, actually got a PG certificate. So it just goes to show how things changed over 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no blood or gore in this.
No, it's just murder, isn't it?
Yeah. Um, there's a scene with the knitting needles and there's a scene with the poker, but they're
Yeah.
not graphic. Like we've seen worse with blood, etc., with Dracula or
Oh, yeah.
Curse of the Werewolf. You know, we've seen worse on screen, and they didn't get an X certificate.
No, no. Let's see if I can find. Yeah.
Very odd. Do you think maybe?
The film was originally passed as an uncut X by the BBFC in April 1963 and an accompanying poster produced, though for various reasons the film was not released in the UK until 1966. It was passed with heavy cuts to remove some of the darker elements with an A certificate and released in September 1966. The 1996 Encore video version, now rated PG, featured the original uncut print. So,
There we go. Do you think maybe that's why Hammer was brought in?
although filmed with a colour negative, the film was released in black and white.
Ah,
So it was filmed with a colour negative, but released in black and white.
there we go. It's
Mm.
so it just goes to show there's always drama. Like throughout the ages of cinema, whenever there's large corporations, that there's always some sort of drama between a creative and what's considered palatable for the audience. And I
Mm.
think it's always going to be the struggle.
Yeah, but I just can't see how they could say it was an X certificate. It just wasn't. It just wasn't X material, was
Like,
it? Um,
there's nothing even remotely. Uh, yeah, I don't get it.
I mean, Robert Morley just didn't play in X-rated films. He was always that same sort of characterization of the funny, snobby type of person in all his films, and who sort of played the one who you thought could be the murderer and never was. Uh, I think he was in one of the Witch Mountain films as well. I think something like that. And yeah, it's I can't remember what. Let me check on him. Yeah, I mean he was in the African Queen. Oh God, I mean he's such a well-known actor, Robert Morley, or was. Yeah, it's been absolutely loads. One thing I did find when I was researching this is a lot of the actors who were in there in this movie were mostly um, movie actors.
Hmm.
You had the odd one or two. In fact, Joyce Grenfell, she did a mixture of the two, movie and things. Yeah, He was in Theatre of Blood, 1973.
Oh, that's Vincent Price. That's hilarious. Now,
Yeah.
there's what rating was that again? That wasn't, was that 18?
Theatre of Blood.
Because if this is getting an X rating, that certainly should have.
Yeah, so look. That was a comedy. Dark comedy, it said.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually say what it was in 1973. It's classed as a PG now. Moderate violence and gore.
Oh, it's rated R in the US for blood and nudity.
Doesn't actually say. Vincent Price was in it. Theatre of Blood.
Yeah, no, I've covered it. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I think that might have been probably a 15 now, but I think it might have been an 18 today. You know what I mean? There's an example of if a film should have had an X rating,
Yeah.
that it would have been that one compared to this. Because
Well,
you've got
yeah,
beheadings and all sorts in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
People's hearts getting taken out and
Just
stuff.
to show what you know, goes through. Well, it's probably a load of old fuddy-duddies, isn't it, the BBFC?
But do you think as well, because maybe that's why the collaboration with Hammer, because Hammer had more clout. A lot of these boards and stuff, they'll pick on smaller creators because they can. And so you have to get like a big studio that'll go and have the words. It's nothing actually to do with the material. It's all about politics.
Yeah.
In the background. So maybe William Castle didn't have a big enough clout or large enough clout, or no. How would you put that? He didn't have enough clout and he didn't have a big enough presence. So maybe that's why he collaborated with Hammer to get that put through and get the international, you know, because Hammer obviously has deals with Universal, etc., and get the thing out.
Yeah. Yeah, quite possibly. But it's just another one of those things, those same those same films where someone says, "Hey, come to my house," isn't it? Do you remember we had that in one of the
Amicus ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, the werewolf one.
And then, you know, I'll give you dinner sort of thing. And yeah. I mean, would you have really gone to Casper's house when that guy was spookily weird, wasn't he?
Yeah. But even at that, so we've got Tom. He's our main protagonist. He's a car salesman and he's sharing a flat with
not a car either.
No. But they're sharing a flat. I don't know, by the sounds of things, it's a one-bedroom flat and they're bed hopping, but we'll not go into the details. That sounds a bit too itchy scratchy for me. Something lace-tastic. But yeah, if they're sharing a flat and he's buying a car off him, why wouldn't he just park it at the house, at the flat, and leave the keys in the...
Yeah.
Here's your car, clink. You know, I don't get the whole scene of him going to the casino.
No, but the other thing is, Casper had to be back on Dartmoor by midnight, and he had a plane. Right? Okay, this is 1963. Where it must have had a private airfield. That's all I can say. Because
you're not landing nothing in
Plymouth never had an airport, did they? In 1963, nearest one would have been Exeter, and I'm not sure if they flew to London. I don't know, but
unless he landed in Bovington, you know, used one of the hangar strips there.
Yeah. But
they moved the tanks out of the way.
If you think of the time it takes, it's about an hour, isn't it? So we'd have to, by the time we got through and everything and sorted things out, it would have been, he would have had to left the casino by 10 o'clock to get home by midnight, probably at the latest. So yeah, I just thought, he's got to go to Dartmoor on a plane where there's no sort of national airport to land. Where's he going to go? But there we go.
Though there are, if you go up to Scotland, for example, and you go around Galloway Forest, there's loads of little tiny private
Yeah.
airstrips. Like legit in the middle of the forest, there's like private airstrips, and there's people land to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Even where I'm from, there's like up in Londonderry and Ards, there's like private airstrips for biplanes and two seaters, not in Cescas. Cescas, not yeah. I mean, there are private airstrips that not the main airports. So
Yeah.
I never thought about looking that up. Actually, if he's only doing a little little propeller thing, probably is somewhere he could land it. But
Yeah.
the
Possibly.
whole premise is
In a
silly.
farmer's field,
Yeah.
It's,
The whole premise is silly, but then again, it is a comedy, so you're meant to just take it with a pinch of salt, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's more than enough opportunity for Tom not to go there.
Yeah. Yeah. And the girl who turns out to be the killer, doesn't it? She's desperately trying to get rid of him at the beginning.
Cecilia, yeah, she's an odd one. But also, don't forget, we've got this whole scene at the casino. That's comedy in itself. I love the way there's no data protection.
Oh yeah.
You just say a name and they'll go blah
say,
blah 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 blah
he's
right
a
in front
member.
of them.
Yeah, he's in there. Yeah. But he was just like comedy in itself, wasn't it? And when the two guys preventing him actually getting into the gambling room, and what sort of he hears a voice and he goes, "Did you speak?" And it's a bloke behind him, the receptionist, and then he says, "You can go in, but no gambling." That wouldn't be allowed by law back in those days, because you to go into a gambling establishment without a membership 24 hours in advance, wouldn't it?
But once again, he could have just left the keys at reception. One of the footmen would have taken it in. Job done.
Yeah.
Especially if it's an exclusive members club.
But this started the whole premise of there's an American in the movie, wasn't it? It was no gambling, sir. You can go in, but no gambling. Gambling? I'm American. Yeah, and that was something that Cicely said, wasn't it, when she first met him?
Mm-hmm.
You're American, aren't you? I think the voice sort of gives it away, but she didn't know that.
Didn't want to confuse with a Canadian, maybe.
Well, yeah, possibly.
That whole side of it is just cringeworthy. It just feels like this guy could have been an East Londoner, Del Boy type character.
Yeah.
And it would have worked just as well.
Yeah. David Jason.
He's still acting.
He is, yeah. I saw a program on him the other day.
Sorry, our apologies, Sir David Jason. Don't have us beheaded, please.
Fantastic. He can play a straight actor or a comedy actor. He's one of the old greats, anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny. Who's a big thing for a while? Catherine Zeta-Jones. In a way, she was a huge thing for a while.
Yeah.
And we all remember her from the Darling Buds of May, and she was a side character because it was David Jason, that is the one who played his wife. Owned that show.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he had this car, didn't he? Quite a nice car, and of course he was trying to keep it clean. And then Casper says, "Oh, come to my house," and it was a mud truck.
Yeah. Also, what is the most pointless car to have in the UK?
Yeah, a bloody convertible with.
What? You use it about 2 weeks a year. What is the point of having a convertible in the UK? Even down south, the weather here is shit and unpredictable. And also, did he have to stop the car saying he had an automatic roof?
Yeah.
Or
Maybe
did it only pop up and then you had to attach it manually?
I didn't see that part, did we?
It started to rain and he saw the drop and then he had to pull over and he hit it and the roof was coming up.
Yeah, because it came out the thing, didn't it?
Yeah.
Automatically. But,
Maybe you had to like finish it off, you know, and he popped out and then you have to pull it.
But he must have been so strong when he got to the gate because he was rattling the gate and the concrete bloody gargoyle or whatever it was just fell. I mean,
But
the angle at that it fell at.
Hold on. The thing's parked back here.
Yeah.
He's at the gates here and he's rattling. The gargoyle's up there. But the
It
gargoyle jumps
and lands upright.
Yes.
It lands upright again, doesn't it?
And the whole engine falls out of the car.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even... If I had like left a big ding, fair enough. But the fact that the whole engine falls out of the car, you're just like, okay.
This is comedy.
Yeah, this is just... I think you're playing the sort of carry-on music, the comedy music through it.
Yeah, or one of the old Laurel and Hardy style films.
I would imagine it being... I could picture Laurel and Hardy being this. In fact, if those two were the car salesmen and they decided to go to the UK and did this, I could picture this just standing Ollie being hapless car salesman and
running away from the murderer like they used to in running away from people.
Another fine mess you got us into, Stanley.
Yeah,
or Ollie. Was it Stanley the one with the mustache was all telling Ollie off? Was that it?
Ollie was the big one.
Oh, yeah. So it's another fine mess you got us into, Stanley. Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
But, only one of them was English. Yeah. Talking about English, Joyce Grenfell, who played, what did she play in? I'm trying to think. Agatha, she played Agatha, I think. Yeah, she played Agatha, the knitting lady.
The world champion knitter.
Yeah, and true story, and she is the sister of Lady Nancy Astor, who, of course, was a Plymouthian in Plymouth. And Lady Nancy Astor's father was at, and I found out this in the New York Public Library, he actually funded the New York Public Library years and years ago. And I think it was just after the war or something like that when they needed books replenishing. So he had connections with the States. So yeah, I think she was half sister, something like that, of Lady Nancy Astor. So she's the connection to my hometown. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, a bit of history for you there.
I want a trapdoor. I do.
That again, Laurel and Hardy, wasn't it? You know, there was a film with Laurel and Hardy in where this killer was after them or something, and he sat down, and as they picked up the phone, the seat on the trapdoor went like that, and the person on the seat disappeared and got murdered, except Stan Laurel, because he sat on the thing, went like that with the phone, went down, but came back up. And he sort of looked around and so picked up the phone again, went back down and came back up. And that trapdoor just reminded me of that film with Laurel and Hardy, because I thought bloody trapdoor.
I was also thinking the scene Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. You know, the revolving bookcase.
Yeah.
And they did all the scenes. You have the Wolfman, you had Bela Lugosi, Dracula, and Bud Abbott, you know, getting caught in different things and chased them. They kept revolving it around. You know, it's classic slapstick of the day.
It is, and it adds to the humor of the film, and I think, you know, I could go on about the faults in it, but it was just funny enough to think they probably didn't care about all the faults because it was a fun film.
They set you up right. Like they set you up that here we're here to have a laugh. Do not take us too seriously. Like if you don't get the X rating. Like there's no way this is remotely gory or horrified about it. There's
there was a lot of innuendos.
oh yeah, they were lovely. They were
Did they
great.
ever think about innuendos in the 60s? You know, was Mary Whitehouse, you know, having a baby about things like that back then?
Wouldn't surprise.
Yeah,
It might have been.
yeah.
I honestly think because Castle wasn't a big enough producer.
Yeah,
I think they were just trying to stamp him down. You know, I honestly think it was that because it's the only explanation makes sense. Because Carry On films were going about, the Confession series was going about at that time.
yeah,
God, what else do I have? Loads of risque stuff.
yeah,
Hammer Horror, you know, in its full glory was going about. You know, I mean, we're 17 movies in now.
yeah,
Amicus was going. There's much more graphic stuff out there that this doesn't even remotely touch it.
no. But the comedy, when he first went down that trapdoor, and when the guy comes out, Potiphar.
Potiphar, yes.
Yeah, he comes out and he goes, "Who's there?" Like, and he says, "Oh, hands up, hands up." Right, I'm leaving. No, you're not, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Hands up. Okay, sees the gun come around the corner, and again, that was just pure slapstick, wasn't it? That bit. But then suddenly he says, "Oh, I'm a friend of Casper's." Oh, that's okay then. Firstly, he has a gun at him, ready to kill him, and next minute, just because he says he's Casper's friend, he's his best mate.
Yeah, just that's all right then.
Yeah. Well, and then they go into this conversation where one's talking about the car, and the other one's talking about Casper being murdered, and the two conversations are getting mixed up. Yeah.
But that was a setup though.
Very well done. Yeah.
That was a setup for him getting into the lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked so well.
Yeah. But it's just I mean, the script was pretty on the ball, wasn't it? There was no stopping it. It's if you think of when they were looking at the painting and Robert Morley's character, what was he called? Roderick says, "Oh, well, we don't know if Blackbeard's surname was Penderell."
Blackbeard Penderell. You're like, dude, this does remind me of Carry On Screaming.
Yeah.
The script, you know, the script there was so tight and so clever, and it's one of those you had to pay attention because there was so much in the script.
Yeah.
This is of similar vein. There's not a line of dialogue wasted.
No, definitely not. No, and they all hit off on each other, and I think every single one of the actors and actresses were bidding for the. I mean, they weren't, but looked like they were bidding for the Oscar in comedy, wouldn't it? It was,
yeah. Do you think this is what Shadow of the Cat was trying to achieve?
Yeah,
but just slightly missed the mark.
Yeah. But, well, is it the fact that Hammer might have seen that and said to, "Oh, let's have a look, see how William Castle does it." Not all of William Castle's films were horrors, and there was a mixture there.
No, but this is definitely a comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a few horror elements, but the whole premise is so ridiculous, and the Femme family as a whole are absolutely howling.
Yeah, I know
that you don't feel any sense of dread. You're just going to go, do you know what? They could have accidentally murdered each other just out of their ineptness and the fact that they're all bonkers.
Yeah. I mean, he builds an ark. What the hell is he building an ark?
That threw me. I have to say, that threw me. I was not expecting that.
And then, how many hyenas have you got? Did you see that? It was obviously a stuffed animal.
Yeah. Sure, I put a note. That has to be the worst special effects
yeah. But when the dog was leaving the room, or hyenas and stuff, it was the body of a German Shepherd.
Yeah,
Even
completely
the
different. Not even
tail was a
remotely
German
the
Shepherd,
same.
and yet it was like supposedly a hyena, and
It was a
whose head didn't move,
it was a
the
taxidermy.
eyes were those stuffed eyes that they replaced for real
Yeah, it was
ones.
taxidermy. There was
And it was attacking him.
no, but to have a dog jump up first when it's doing the licking thing, licking his hand, and then to swap it over for the statue,
Yeah,
and then have a completely different dog walking out.
yeah,
Just
I know.
ah dear. But
I mean that happens in that movie, and you think it's hilarious. I mean, if you look at the remake of The Omen, in which they got a dog there, and it was a Doberman in the opening shot, and that turned into a black German Shepherd. Then,
sure, we reviewed that.
yeah, we did, didn't
Yeah, you, me, and Cam.
we? Yeah.
That was painful.
Oh, it was very.
That was a painful movie to watch. That was horrendous.
Yeah.
Ah,
It's one of those that it was. They should have left the original classic alone, and I'm glad they didn't make number two as a remake. But, hey ho.
no, that was
Yeah,
bad.
this dog though is so funny. Um,
But
and
Tom Pendrell,
you would have thought carry on.
yeah, Tom Pendrell's got himself in a pickle without a doubt. Like he's just going, is this worth it? Even for a car sale, he's like,
Yeah, what do I do? Yeah. When he sees Casper's body as well, I
yeah.
wish someone would close his eyes. That's brilliant. Oh. Mm.
And I love the way that they're friends. They've been busy subletting a flat together for a month.
Yeah,
They never see each other.
yeah. He says in the casino, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Casper, he goes, "Oh, you're my best friend."
that's frightening in itself.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
imagine renting that room.
yeah. And he didn't really tell him where Fen Hall was. He just said Fen Hall, Dartmoor.
Yeah,
Dartmoor's a bloody big place. Oh,
I have tramped over it many a time.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but if this hadn't have been a comedy, you'd be poking holes in this. But I think it's the ridiculousness of it that makes it funny.
Yeah.
Because
It's
no way would you.
when oh
I could picture this being one of the Ernest. Do you remember Ernest?
yeah,
I could picture
but,
this being in the Ernest movie, and Ernest being the car salesman, being one of his odd jobs.
yeah,
Get into this. If they were ever to remake it, it should have been remade as an Ernest movie,
yeah.
uh,
But
or a Carry
you
On
look
movie. One of the two.
at Morgan, the father who doesn't speak, and that bump on his head at the end. And he
I
was just going for what's his name, wasn't he? For Tom. He
yeah
said, just because Tom was talking to his daughter, like, and yeah, he threw that like spear thing. It was, wasn't it? And it went in the wall. The angle that he threw it, it just wouldn't have gone in so straight anyway.
yeah
But it went in the wall. But when Tom was trying to pull it out, the scenery was moving. It was supposed to be brick wall.
yeah, but
Yeah.
no.
And the scenery was going like this.
But you know what? You didn't care
No,
because it's all
I was
daft.
happy. I thought, yeah, he threw it like that upwards, and it went straight vertical like that. I thought, oh, that's a bloody good shot.
But it worked. You know what I mean? It's part of
Yeah,
that. Like the fact that the Morgan looks nothing like the rest of the family. Like they did really well with the family resemblance for the actors, didn't they?
yeah, yeah.
Except
But
for Morgan. Morgan's the odd one out.
yeah,
Even Morgana looks sort of like the rest of them.
but that scene in itself was pure sort of comedy, wasn't it? Because he was there, and Morgan threw Tom on the rope bit, didn't he? And he was going like that with his legs, running with his legs, and of course he had the coal under him, and his legs were just going like this, and it was so fast a scene that when the girl came down and smacked him over the head with the shovel, and that's when it stopped going so fast. And he was just chasing Tom around the room and everything, and it just I thought what a brilliantly scripted and acted scene, because they must have done it in one take, because else they would have had to replace everything.
Yeah. It just reminds me of, like the Charlie Chaplin stuff and
Yeah,
the Laurel Hart, the physical slapstick acting where
yeah,
the actors actually break themselves to make the movie.
yeah,
And they, we always talk about the clock tower thing, that's an example of just actors back then,
mm,
completely different mindset, and they did whatever they needed to do for the movie.
yeah, mm,
And what we get then are movies that we could watch uh, nearly 80 years later,
yeah,
and still 85 years, yep, nearly 85 years later, and still enjoy.
yeah. The
Uh,
It's surprising, talking about it being a comedy, how many of the critic reviews have taken it as a serious movie and have slammed it because it's of its comedy content. How they can do that, I don't know. 'Cause, I mean,
hold on, that has not changed.
we
Let's
could
be
call
honest.
we could call ourselves film critics, and we'd say, well, it's a comedy.
Yeah. Well, that's why we go by the term commentator, actually,
Yeah.
because the critics are bought and paid for by the studios. They
Mm,
are thick, like they're all they do is serve word soup on a daily basis, and they've
yeah.
really served no purpose. We can give a better in-depth analysis on a flipping couple of webcams, than those muppets who get paid to do it. You know what you like, you know what you see in front of you. Look at today. Look at the difference between like Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score and the critic score. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what the movie is. They couldn't be more further apart. The
No.
critics love it. The audience tends to hate it. The audience love it. The critics hate it. You know what I mean? These people live in a bubble
It's
that don't know
exactly the same.
reality.
I used to subscribe to Total Film magazine for years, and I found that my view was never the same as theirs. I mean, they give Hereditary 5 stars, and so based on that, I went to see it at the cinema, and me and the son laughed all the way through it, and I thought it was absolutely shite. But they give it 5 stars, saying what a masterpiece it is, and and there were other films, that I thought were brilliant, that they gave 1 star to and 2 stars to, and so I didn't renew my subscription this year because I thought it's just got really bad. And a lot of the interviews that they have with they used to have with top stars, like you get an interview with Tom Cruise years ago, or
But
Steven
that's the
Spielberg,
access media.
yeah, and now it's like, oh, the cameraman of camera 3 and stuff like
Mhm.
that of the film, and
No, that's the nature of the access media. That's why the basically kiss arse is the want access, the want the stars on, all that kind
yeah,
of stuff. But even that's fallen out of favor because it's not selling. That's why a lot of these magazines and websites are all in trouble.
yeah,
You look at them, they're all getting closed down over the last year. The venture capitals ran out and they're all getting closed down because nobody believes them.
no,
Uh, Rotten Tomatoes, for example, you would not use it as a barometer.
I don't bother with Rotten
No,
Tomatoes.
it's if you're commentating on something and you want to use an example of like the critics saying, "Oh, they think it's really good" or whatever, or like this, they're saying this movie, "Oh, It had comedy elements. Why? It's not a serious horror. Well, what's on no planet from the opening credits? If you didn't know this was a comedy, I don't know what to tell you.
Be sick.
Yeah, you're something. You know what I mean? Go get
Yeah,
that sorted out. If
music,
you,
just the music says it all.
yeah,
Um,
before the film even starts, you are told this is a comedy. Now,
yeah,
because it didn't put this is a comedy over the top, like how stupid you have to be. And these are supposed to be the intellectuals, our betters, the proper artists, the people that have the know in the industry. You peasant, how dare you have an opinion on movies that isn't mine, sort of people. And
mm,
they're thick as mints.
yeah, mm, mm. But,
No.
but yeah, that trapdoor. I mean, 3 occasions when he says, "I'm going to call the police." No, don't go, don't go. Yeah, I'm going. He goes like, back down.
It
I'm
was
not
used
sure.
well. It wasn't just one wasted scene. They got good use of it, but it didn't overuse it.
No. Mm, yeah. And
Oh, I gotta
he says,
remember how to close that. I worked out how to open it, but I don't know how to close it afterwards.
Next time, use the doorbell. And you thought, hold on, the doorbell was like all the wires were hanging out the doorbell, weren't they? That's why I used the knocker.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, he meets the Femmes, and they're barking
Oh,
mad, absolutely barking mad.
yeah.
They've all got cabin fever.
Well, one brings the bowl in for him to wash, and how she didn't realise that it was acid, I'll never know. 'Cause she wasn't the killer, so she wouldn't have intentionally put acid in the bowl, would she?
Mm.
What was it? Sicily was the killer, wasn't it? What was it
Yeah,
called?
it was Morgana.
Morgana, yeah, Morgana. She brought it in. I mean, if she had spilt it, she would have soon realised it was acid.
Yeah, but
And
obviously she did.
let's face it, to walk up the hall with a bowl of stuff like that, you would have had to tiptoe. You know,
Yeah, but I
you know,
think it kind of added to it because let's be honest, if she'd known she walked casually, she could have, like you said, easily spelled that over herself.
yeah,
So that almost ruled her out as a
yeah,
killer.
yeah,
And she was telegraphed too obvious. Like her and the uncle,
mm,
uh, they weren't the killer. You knew that. That was too Morgan wasn't the killer. It was
no,
too obvious. And
yeah,
that was part of the joke.
yeah. He was just like nutty, wasn't he? Just wanted to kill Tom, really, or doing some injury. But the way he was doing it was just again slapstick.
Yeah,
It was
it was just hilarious.
it's
How should not
uh,
know this is a comedy? How could you review this movie and not know it's a bloody comedy?
yeah. You only had to look at Morgan, didn't you?
Yeah.
And the nutty guy, and think, yeah,
And you
and
knew he was going to speak at the end and he was going to be eloquent.
yeah,
You
yeah,
knew that was no surprise whatsoever.
yeah,
You still laughed at it. It was still funny.
mm, yeah.
But yeah, they were saying that Tom, oh, you're strange, aren't you? He goes, no, I'm not strange. I'm an
Oh,
American from
yeah,
America.
yeah. Oh, brilliant.
I do think that was part of the joke.
I think so. I think they were
Do you think somewhere in the studio?
playing on the joke of America, weren't they? Of Americans being in Britain. But, yeah,
Because I think there must have been a thing going on, and that's the problem. We'll never get the full story because it's not back then. Things weren't talked about as openly as they
no,
are now, and it wasn't as easy to dig in. But I almost think the studios, like the money people, are like, if you don't have an American in this, it won't sell, or the
no,
American studios wouldn't bet unless there was American in it. I almost think something like that was going on because if you look at Quatermass, they're so shoehorned in.
mm,
You can tell it's done for studio purposes, not for storytelling.
yeah. It makes me wonder if like their board of directors or whatever they had back then consisted of some Americans who were funding the
Uh,
film, and they said, right, we want one of our guys in, you
yeah,
know.
I won't sell an American unless there's an American in it. It reminds me of Coronation Street.
Yeah,
They wouldn't. down south wouldn't watch it because it was set in Manchester, so they had to bring a character in from London.
Yeah.
Johnny
Oh yeah. I know.
Briggs,
Briggs. Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
He played an East Londoner or something, and it was the only way they could get the southern lot to watch it because oh no, the northerners couldn't have that. Oh, there's one of us in it now. It's okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that was the case of with these movies? Oh, we'll not watch it in American because there's not an American in it. Oh, there is now. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Quite possibly because I think that's how they sold it, abroad. Is to say it's 'cause it looked like it was a sort of licensing, etc. It was done a year before it was actually released, and it was therefore done 4 years before it was released in Britain with the lower certificate. So it must have been shown in America.
yeah, because it would have went bust.
Yeah.
If it had to wait that long to get shown, the film wouldn't have made a penny back. That would have been a hit for the studio. I think that's why Hammer's involved in this to get that international distribution.
Yeah.
And they also, assuade the censors and probably putting the American, like that seems to be a recurring theme with these movies is they have to have an American in it because to sell it overseas. And it's all right. People are that stupid and they are that fickle. So I can imagine that being the case of somebody going, oh, can't watch that. Oh, it's not one of me in it. It's back to that whole American I must see myself thing. That Stephen went to friggin' 11 now. I must see myself in every shape and form, strange people. How much money is worth that lifestyle I lead?
It must have been quite a fair bit, wasn't it? Did you work out he said in the casino, didn't he? He said he had 4,000 pounds,
Pounds of chips.
and the guy says, "No, that's about $12,000." It wasn't. Back in 1963, £4,000 was worth about $7,000. I think it was seven. I read it. I've done the calculation on it. Yeah, it was only about $2 to the pound in 1963, but he made it three. So
Might have been that week. The
that
stock
week,
yeah, the stockbrokers went poof. It
yeah.
happens sometimes. Yeah, what is it about now? About 70p to the dollar or something? I don't know. I always do like a random calculation in my head sometimes when I get dollars, but yeah, I think it was just sort of once again. I think I was just translated for the American audience to give them some context because people wouldn't have looked up the news. Like even though all the daily newspapers have the exchange rates in the back in the financial section,
Yeah, they changed.
newspapers.
Yeah, you can read it one day, but the price that they quote is not the price that you get it at. It's the sort of trader's price, isn't it, that they quote.
That's for bulk, bulk buying money and moving it.
But if you take gold, gold could be worth $200 an ounce 1 minute. You go back, put your newspaper down, come back, and it's gone up to 220 or down to 160, and it's like that constantly.
There's entire offices of people dedicated to just clicking buttons and moving money back and forward.
Yeah.
That's Citibank's one of the ones that does that a lot. Just has entire teams, and that's all they do. Click, 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 click. They're watching the thing going up and down. They've got their thing, and they're just moving money between accounts, and it's all virtual. Like it's not like somebody's going with a forklift and lifting up a pile of money and then putting it over here, dropping it, then bringing it up. It's all but I think that was just for the audience. That was more of a just a
I just thought, and wasn't worth 3 times the amount, and I checked up
Yeah.
on it.
I think it was just to impress the audience of this is a lot of money he's thrown away.
Yeah, but
But
then, I mean, now you think £4,000, that all? You know, that's one bet to some people now, isn't
yeah,
it?
other people, that's life changing money. You know, it's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah. Um,
I don't know. I don't gamble anyway. Freaking
Did you guess who the killer was?
no.
I didn't, and it could have been anyone, and that
It
was
could have been anyone or no one. It
it
could
was
have,
the experience of the film, isn't it? The only
yeah,
person it could have been was Tom to start with, because
yeah. He's the only one in the clear, isn't it?
he arrived after Casper died.
It could have even been Casper.
Yeah, because you didn't know
At,
if he was really dead, did you?
yeah, at some point that could have been Casper.
Yeah.
But then again, that's
He
the
could have
fun element of the
he could have
movie.
just been laid there in that coffin
Yeah.
and pretended to be dead. And in fact,
Well,
you
we'll meet Jasper. You know what I mean?
say that was one of the things I picked up on. You actually saw him breathe in one of the scenes. You actually saw his chest go like this, and he was supposed to.
But it wasn't as obvious as Dracula. Let's be
No,
honest.
no, no, no.
When she politely moves, so Peter Cushing can put the stake in her,
Yeah,
shifts a bit. No, you know what I
yeah,
mean? It wasn't that obvious. But once again, when we see the scene where Tom meets Jasper, his twin brother, and he has
yeah,
exactly the same facial expression.
yeah. But did you see when what was her name? The character Agatha, played by Joyce Grenfell, when she was sat there knitting and she went, Casper, and he went, no, I'm Jasper. We're twins. Oh right, yeah, yes, I remember. Yeah, I'm your son. We're twins. Oh, that would be it, she says.
But that, I think that was the whole sense.
They're just a nutty family, weren't they? They're just, oh,
But the whole situation they're in has driven them round the bend, which it would.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. There's no, he's out gambling and throwing money away, but he
yeah,
has to be back and constrained for this nightly ritual that takes place.
yeah. Did you see
And
that made me laugh as well when Agatha didn't turn up for 12 o'clock because she'd been murdered, and then Robert Morley, wasn't it? Roderick was there checking the clock, and then they go, "Ding! She's late! She's late! She's forfeited! No, that clock's always early."
yeah,
And then it comes up with one of the tunes, doesn't it? And no, that's not it. Ding!
all
That's
the
it.
bells, oranges and
Yes,
lemons.
yes, forfeit. That means you get some, you get more, you get more. It's like he's having a whale of a time when he says it. It's brilliant.
There was almost a supernatural element, wasn't there?
Yeah,
You would think that it'd been cursed, and if it had been the case, magic was involved, it wouldn't have surprised me in the slightest.
yeah. I somehow felt it was like an element of the monsters or the Addams family, sorry, in it, and you know even down as far as Morgana, you know,
Yep. The
she gets,
difference is, though, the Adams family were, the whole point of the Adams family was they were a family, a unit, they were united,
yeah,
and it was always an external force coming in.
yeah.
But this family's like,
They just want to kill each other.
yeah. But
Well, one wanted to kill him. Yeah,
but the thing is, all you have to do is go, give me a reasonable amount and have the rest. You know what I mean? There's always an exit clause.
yeah,
I think that's what makes this ridiculous, you know, and framed as comedy, because at any point, any of these folks could be out of this situation
yeah.
and leave one person with the amount.
Oh, Jasper, doesn't it? He goes around telling everyone Roderick's trying to kill him, and then it goes to the scene where he's got all his guns and his cannons and everything. He goes in. This is my favorite one. This is the one that Nelson had, and so there's, and he opens the cabinet, goes bang, and you think, we thought it was him.
Yeah.
It's not him. But that
I
that
love
was a lot.
I love
It,
the
it
oil
went
cooled
away. It
Vickers
didn't
machine
go-
gun.
it wasn't a Steve Knight book where I give away the killer to start with. This one, you just didn't know who, and that was the brilliance of it. You didn't know who the killer was. In one by one, they were getting, done over and killed, and you thought, well, oh God, well, it's not him then. Oh, it's not her. And you just didn't know until because you would have never have thought that it would have been Cecily, would you? She was too nice, and she told Tom to get out. So please don't stay. Go now. Go. You've still got time. So you wouldn't have thought, if that was the case, that she was the killer.
But in Carry On movies that do that too, I don't think you really cared who the killer was. It was one of them. You weren't trying to seriously find out. You knew it was going to be ridiculous, so you just went with it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was happy to do that, because I was having fun.
yeah,
That's the thing. If you're having fun with a movie, you'll go with along with their plot lines. It's when you're not having fun, you're like, right, okay, give me something, or you start nitpicking. But this movie is just it's having fun itself, making it. You can tell, and we're having fun as an audience, so that's all that matters.
yeah. I like what you said about the and when Tom was being more or less mentally undressed by
Morgana.
Morgan, and he won't take his shirt off, but he goes beyond and takes his trousers off.
Yeah, that's like, okay, he's getting all shy about his shirt, and he has a vest on underneath.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'll press your trousers, no problem. Whoop, off the go. You're like,
Yeah.
all right, whatever.
And then the father comes in, Morgan.
That was the setup. Let's be honest. That
Yeah,
was the plank, the wooden plank doing you knew the father was going to come in and see that.
yeah.
Ah, dear. But that was a strange. So basically, the house was originally built by the first femme, Blackbeard, the parrot.
No, he was called Blackbeard Pendero. Yeah.
No, he might have been the wife. Might have been the American wife he ran away with.
Yeah.
But he built the castle as far away from the sea as possible, so nobody'd be tempted to become parrots. Like you're just
Where did
they
they
must
come
have
up?
been in the writing room writing this out, going, "That's stupid." It's something
Pass,
like John Cleese would write.
pass me another vat of wine
Yeah,
while I wrote this.
it's one of those just daft premises that you're like, okay, because it's a comedy.
Look at the picture, and Tom goes, "Yeah, he resembles you, not me, you." He looked nothing like the bloody painting, did he? Oh,
Oh dear. But all the conversations, everything's in metaphors and riddles.
yeah,
Like everything. It just reminds me of Carry On Screaming. When you that dialogue so clipped and so clever that you really have to pay attention because there's a subtext throughout this whole all the dialogue and it's brilliant.
yeah, yeah. But they use a lot of these rhyme riddles as well, don't they? Oranges in
Well,
lemon.
it's a nursery rhyme, isn't it? Orange and lemon since the bells is the calamus, blah 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 blah. Here comes the chopper to chop over head. It's
Yeah,
an old London rhyme. It's been around for donkey's years.
yeah, yeah.
It's just the whole thing with the tape. Uh, so every time somebody got killed, the tape played automatically played a tune. I'm like, I don't remember 8 tracks being that advanced.
My mum used to have one of those tape players, and actually used to have a better sound than some of the stuff you get these days. But yeah, it was a Ferguson she had, and
Ooh,
she used to record stuff on it. And of course, we as kids used to think it was brilliant because you could record yourself on this tape stuff. And But did you notice that every time it played, Tom disconnected the tape?
He pulled it out and looked at it as if it was a film negative, and it's like, what do you think you're going to achieve?
Yeah. But every time it, one of the rhymes come on, you run in, let's find it.
Yeah,
Ooh,
but that's his character anyway.
yeah,
His character is a buffoon.
yeah. Mm.
Like, there's
And
no
he
ifs, buts, or
played it so
maybes.
well. If you look at his CV more or less, that is his role. He
Hmm.
plays mostly that characterization, and not the same character, but he's always the sort of slapstick buffoon type of character in whatever he played in. It must have been this, to get typecast as something like that must have been, but it worked for him. It
Yep.
obviously worked for him because if you look at what he's done, he was in Christmas with the Cranks, when he was working Mindy,
God, there's a show from back in the day.
yeah, what else has he been
More
in?
calling Orson. More calling Orson. Are you there, Orson?
Yeah. Good morning, Vietnam. Yeah, he's done ER, King of the Hill, Diagnosis Murder, and all the comedy things he's done. He's more or less played the same characterization. He has done other things, but yeah, yeah, he's again such an actor in demand. I would say because of all the stuff he's done. But, yeah, but I don't think you could have got a better actor to play that part
No,
because he was just brilliant, and he came across so easily as in in role that they obviously wanted played, um, so yeah.
but the simple solution to all of this was for people to leave the house.
Yeah,
That's just not be there at midnight for the particular ritual. Job done. How that got notarized or would go through a court of law, I've no idea. He wasn't there. Yes, I was. But they're saying Tom's there to take the money and they won't let him leave. You're like,
yeah,
hold on. If he leaves, then he's no claim because of the will says he has to be there every night at a certain time. And if he
yeah.
hasn't been there, when do you have to start being there and not being there? So if he hasn't been there, he's never. If you tried to apply logic to this, you'd hurt your brain because there isn't. It's not meant to be logical. It's meant to be silly.
Yeah, it is. It's a silly comedy.
Mhm.
It's very very enjoyable though. It's my sort of humor.
Yeah, I get it. It's just
You know.
you go along with it because, like I said, you're having fun. If you weren't having fun, you could stop and go, yeah, no, not into this.
Yeah,
But
it's it's sort of film that you can watch and know that it's funny without it being vulgar and swear words. I mean, if it was made today, it would have a whole lot of swear words put in it, and shouting abuse at each other, and this was just uh, it's hard to describe. Just it was the script. I think the script must have been so fast. The only other thing I can put to it with the script and knowing how it was Faulty Towers, of course, and
mhm.
that script was fast. And I imagine that this film here must have been the same. It must have been one hell of a script to put because they played off on each other all the time.
Because
And
there's no real one actor. I know he's the point of view character brought into this
yeah,
insanity, but he's not the main character
no,
because everybody has a role to play in this, and
no. character really. Um,
It's more the scenario is the character as opposed to the individuals.
yeah, yeah. There's no main character at all. It's because if you were to look at it these days, I think, oh yes, Robert Morley is the most well-known actor, and George Grenfell. They must be the top actors, the top paid actors. And but if you look at it back in 1963, you think, yeah, he's well known. You know, he's a name, but so are all the others,
Hmm.
uh, and they're all playing. They're all acting their hearts out to make this as funny as it is. Um, yeah,
But that's where uh,
again,
Chris
old
says
school.
are when humor's done right, it's timeless. That's the beauty of this. Look at how many comedies aren't even funny on the second watch.
Yeah,
Like I'm talking about 80s onwards. Stuff. There's comedy out there. I would have talked about the Carry On films when they tried to reinvigorate that again. It just didn't land.
just didn't work.
Look
No,
at the what's it called in the slapstick, what like the Hangover series and stuff. I mean, you watch that once and you might go, haha. But if you watch it a second time, it's not funny.
yeah,
Look at all the what do you call it, the Adam Sandler stuff.
yeah.
That's
It's,
not it's
a
really limited.
lot of the TV series they've tried to revive. If you think the Catherine Tate show, they've done the Nan movie sort of 15 years after Catherine Tate's show was made, and it had lost its originality because 15 years later her character wasn't valid.
Mhm.
And you know she'd
It was done for a particular time. It was comedy of a moment.
Little Britain. You know,
Mm.
David Walliams was said to be thinking about doing another series of Little Britain now. And then he thought, well, I couldn't get away with half the things I did back in 2003. So it wouldn't be the same sort of fun. And, you know,
No, and it wouldn't be the title with Red Dwarf, sure, that horrendous pilot.
yeah,
They did the American version of Red Dwarf. And even when they brought Red Dwarf back, it wasn't the same. Was it season 10 or season 11?
yeah.
After the hiatus, they tried to bring them all back and it just wasn't the same.
Mm,
That's the difference between comedy like this. Comedy like this is universal, it's just meant for all time because it's just basic slapstick.
yeah,
This could easily be set today because it's ridiculous.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
could put the modern conveniences in, it wouldn't make a difference.
You know, that Abbott and Costello and Laurel and Hardy, you know,
Mhm.
that was made in the 30s, 40s. I can remember laughing at it in the 70s when I was a kid, you know, and thinking, this is really funny. Well,
Yeah, I was the
that's
same.
30, 30, nearly 40 years later. And that was made to last. Harold Lloyd is another one that
Charlie Chaplin.
yeah, Charlie Chaplin. I mean, some of his stuff was, and
You still look at that today, like the whole, the bicycle scene with the long ladder and stuff.
yeah,
You still look at that and you go, wow.
but in the one where he was in the factory on the conveyor belt, when he was like putting them back in, and in the kitchen scene when he was wiping the dishes and putting them back. And yeah,
Yeah, stuff like that is because it's universal and it's not tied to a particular moment in history or a particular culture,
mm,
cultural fad at the time. That's why it lasts. It's
yeah,
when stuff is made for the era. And that's the problem. They're not making movies like that. The only one I could say recently would be Renfield.
yeah, and
That's the only thing I could say would be a comedy for all time
yeah.
because
But
that's timeless. That whole
look at it, it flopped at the cinema.
marketing, once again, marketing, and people have been so conditioned to see certain things
Yeah,
that that's a good old wholesome comedy, and that'll
mm.
still be people will watch that 10 years from now and still
Even
laugh at it.
you could see even Nicolas Cage was enjoying himself on that
Mm.
one. Because
The
you would
the
have never
apartment,
thought, Nicolas Cage Dracula. You just and then when you saw the film, you think, yeah, he is. He's
It
a
couldn't have been
bloody
anybody else.
no, no,
But that's,
no,
there's not enough of those movies.
no, not at all.
And that's the problem. They're making too many movies for the era. And they'll age because fads, fashions, nobilities, or whatever, people's morality changes even within 5 years.
Yeah,
Look at today compared to 5 years ago.
yeah,
Like, we wouldn't be able to have it even remotely this conversation. You'd be watching over your shoulder waiting for the mob to come after you for nothing at the end of
yeah,
the day. My
yeah.
opinion hasn't changed from 5 years ago over a lot of things. I haven't changed how I speak from 5 years ago, but because the fad then was just to go after everybody and anybody you could.
Mm,
And they still try it now today, but they just don't have people have got sick of it, so they've burnt out so we can breathe a bit. But that's the thing. And you hear people talking for that era, like now, and they're so out of date.
yeah.
Um
But yeah, the guy speaks at the end finally, doesn't he? Morgan,
mhm.
after all these years, he's not spoke. He suddenly speaks and says, "Hit me again."
But the whole thing with the arc as well, that was so random.
Oh, I mean, just it added to the silliness
Yeah.
because you could just imagine a mad family like it was. You could just imagine one of them building an ark, and it reminded me a bit of the guy in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Not
The child
the
catcher?
no the father of the inventor.
God, I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah, and he had his little hut, and they kidnapped him, thinking he was the inventor. And yeah, it reminded me very much of him with the art.
I
Um,
need to watch that again. That's been
but you,
years.
why build an art? And
But even going as far as to get the animals,
yeah, they had lions there, bloody tigers, a lot.
there's no
Um,
messing about.
no,
And that's where the whole hyena joke came in.
yeah,
That's where the whole all led to. Oh, of course I've got a pair of hyenas, I've got a pair of everything. And you're like, what?
yeah.
Like, to me, it would have been worth the 5 mile walk back to the nearest village. Just that place was mad. And no amount of money would convince me to stay there. Like, you're living like absolute rats. Everything's dripping and old and moldy, and you could smell it. You could actually smell it on the screen. You could smell the mold, and you're like, no amount of money's worth this.
Chris is trying to beat me on the jokes. Have you heard that? Hey fellas, Steve, I've just read that cows have been sighted in the fields of a marijuana facility near you for the third time this week. Something needs to be done. The stakes have never been higher.
Ah, dear.
He's been around me too long, isn't he? Oh,
Yeah. It's just absolute silliness. I love the final bit with the 8 track.
yeah,
He switches a couple of dials, and that's the equivalent of. And anybody that does sound editing and tries to do voice changing knows how bloody hard that is.
yeah. He just goes like that with the dials, isn't it? That's your voice. Oh god.
Yes, it was me. Wahahaha. And you're like, and the thing is, I wasn't shocked, surprised. I was just still laughing, going, of course, why not?
Yeah.
But the whole thing with the dynamite, the kill in the house, like,
Yeah.
if everybody else is dead, why would you have to carry on with the clause? Who the hell's monitoring this clause?
Yeah. But
And
then,
also, if you've got the fortune, do the house up.
yeah, because it had so many leaks in the roof and
Yeah.
everything.
So if there's an absolute fortune, retile the roof
Yeah.
and make the place that you somewhere you'd want to live in, so you're not going batshit crazy. But then again, that's just the silliness of the whole thing because they're all barking mad. That I think
Yeah,
that's the whole theme of it. It's not about the money or anything else. They're just absolutely howling.
yeah, yeah. I mean, she says at the end, "We can get married now."
And the father's like, Morgan, he's like, yeah, you can marry my daughter. And he's like, no.
Yeah, I've tried to kill you, but no, you can marry her.
And you will marry her, sort of thing. And he tries to escape. And then we get the last go at the trapdoor.
That was another scene, wasn't it, when she was caught in behind the sort of cage door, and he was rattling it, and the scenery was all going like this as well. Oh, it's brilliant.
But I don't think you mind. Once again, you didn't mind
Oh,
because it was silly. That was the whole point of the silliness.
yeah,
You weren't meant to look at this and go, oh, that's not architecturally sound. You're just meant to like go along with it. And then, of
yeah,
course, it's set up for the scene for Morgan to rip it out of the wall,
yeah,
showing how strong he was. Like, basically, he's not somebody to mess with.
yeah.
I was saying she will replace Shotgun Wedding with the Morgan Wedding. He didn't even get any fun to warrant it. He just got a wife.
Yeah.
The
No,
flag, the whole thing with the flag as well. Like, who's operating the flag?
every time someone died, it went half-mast, didn't it?
Yeah,
Who put it half-mast? Who was doing it?
we don't know.
Yeah, every time someone died, it panned out to the flag, down to half-mast. But who put it back up anyway?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And what is it? 20 minutes of mourning because there's somebody dying. Like, this is all through the one night.
Yeah.
So how long do you mourn somebody for? Like, normally the flag goes down for 24 hours.
Yeah, at least. Not this one.
No, that's 10. You get 10 minutes, that goes back up again. And then they replace it with the American flag because, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You can tell it was definitely American. It was marketed for the foreign audience because
Yeah.
obviously they need to see that, or else they get
Yeah.
upset and confused.
Yeah. See, the Brits wouldn't get upset.
Thing is, we're tolerant. We're tolerant of other. If we see another flag, it's like, okay, that's your flag, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crack on and don't get annoyed. And we've seen loads of movies from all over the world, and okay, that's our flag and culture. It's only the Americans who are like, oh, it must be our flag. We're not watching it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck off. Just go away.
Yeah.
Nah, sorry, but
So overall, I thought it was a very good entry into the William Castle stroke Hammer series. Um, I enjoyed this one. I think if it was, Hammer on its own, you could have said it was kick in the ass that they needed this one, because even though it was comedy, it was funny, and a lot funnier than some of the stuff you get in this day and age.
oh,
Uh,
right.
and I don't know who actually. William Castle produced and directed it. I'm not sure who wrote it. Let me see. Let me see. Writers: Robert Dylan, J.B. Priestley wrote the original thing. Oh, J.B. Priestley is one of England's greatest writers. It's described. One of the last generation of free-thinking British sages who contemplated both science and philosophy in their literary output. His books have never been out of print. I knew I recognised the name.
There you go.
Yeah, he's a playwright, novelist, social critic, historian. Died in 1984. Yeah, good God. Yeah, J.P. Priestley was the one who wrote the thing. The screenplay was by Robert Dylan, who Robert Dylan done screenplays of Flight of the Intruder, Revolution. Revolution, I was in that.
I just think I could see this as a radio play.
Yeah, but then J.P. Christian is a playwright.
Yeah, I could see this actually as a play.
Yeah.
Play as opposed to a movie. I could see this as a stage show. It'd be actually hilarious. Because you don't really need that much in the way of sets.
Robert Dylan did screenplays for French Connection 2, The Fugitive TV series.
Well, that was big back in the day.
Yeah.
In the TV series, did he ever find the one-armed man? I can't remember. Or was it just left because it got cancelled?
In The Fugitive?
Yeah, the TV, the original black and white TV series.
I watched the TV series.
Oh, well, I used to watch it back in the day. Not religiously, but it was basically same as the videos. He went from place to place. He solved the local mystery, but he was always in search of the one-armed man. He was always hot on his trail, and the police were chasing him.
Yeah.
He was wrongly accused of a murder, and that was the thing. But it was that sort of episodal thing where he just went, he solved the local mystery, then he moved on just before he got caught. Like every TV series of the day like that.
Yeah.
It's done like most procedurals, or even the Incredible Hulk was like that.
Yeah.
Is that sort of
he was searching for a cure, wasn't he?
Yeah. But it just happened that on his travel, he always seemed to solve a mystery, every episode. It's a tried and tested formula. But I just wonder with The Fugitive, did it ever get a conclusion? I genuinely can't remember. Or did it just get cancelled?
I never ever watched the series. My dad used to watch it, and I didn't watch it at all. Yeah.
It was black and white.
But he actually did the screen writing for Revolution with Robert De Niro, 1985, one of the worst movies out. It was filmed on Dartmoor, and they came down to Plymouth College for Further Education and paid a lot of us to go up and be extras, just be dead. All we had to do was wear a uniform and be dead on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And we got paid 50 quid a day for that, which wasn't bad.
That's all right.
And I used to go around telling everyone I was Al Pacino's supporting actor.
Hmm. 1996.
There we go.
So 18 grand. Right. So 1996. Grand total of 80 grand. So that was like £23 a day. It wasn't even that. It was about £17 a day.
For
lying about in Dartmoor, freezing cold, covered in stuff.
Yeah.
For 24. Just Dartmoor's a shithole.
I know.
It's a freaking miserable shithole. I'm glad I sat Faraday that day. That was fun. I told you about that, didn't I?
What's that?
The flare. I sat Faraday.
Oh, yeah.
He's a poof. Oh shit! And they have all the beaters in the woods, so you have the in case there's forest fires because it's National Trust property.
Yeah.
The army always shares National Trust property, in the ranges and stuff because it's best kept. Freaking have the run poof, poof, poof.
There's a scout hut just up, sort of just down from Sheepstore, north of Sheepstore, and it's in the middle of a wood, and all the scout groups go up there, and our group from at the time the Plymouth College of Further Education camped up near there, and we just used the hut for storing stuff and things like that. But the college tutor was telling this really scary story, but scary to the girls anyway. And as he came to the punchline, he told one of us to go up, and on the bars that were on the the scout hut to run along the bars and scare the living daylights out of the girls. They screamed. They didn't want to sleep in the tent or anything afterwards. They wanted to sleep inside. But yeah, it's used to go there quite a bit.
I was it probably wouldn't be allowed to do that now. I'd probably trigger somebody and they'd have to get counselling and stuff. Like that was the whole point of like a jump scare, and then everyone giggles afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh well, but there you go. That was fun. That was I really enjoyed that one. That was some old school fun.
Want a film to watch? Watch it.
Yes.
So want a film to watch? Watch it.
Definitely check it out. It's
You don't want to go with the crap that's coming out today, and you want something fun to watch. Go for it.
timeless, just timeless, goofy humor, and yeah, you just switch your brain off for a bit, go with the ridiculousness of it, and just have a laugh. And yeah, it's good to see that stuff like this stands the test of time.
Definitely one I'd watch again.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. That's it's on par with Laurel and Hardy and Carry On films, and that they're so rewatchable. It's unbelievable. But next we have The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb.
Oh, right.
Is that Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee back again?
I don't know. The Curse.
1964. Dickie Owen. No, it's a completely different cast. Completely different cast.
I can't even get it up.
British archaeologists and their American investor ship an Egyptian mummy's sarcophagus to London, but someone has the amulet to revive the mummy that will then kill all of those who disturbed its tomb. Directed by Michael Carreras, maybe.
Don't recognize any of the cast.
No, it's completely different cast.
Again. Remember we go on about Michael Ripper?
Mm-hmm.
Who's in quite a lot of. He's the B part actor.
Yeah, he's playing Ahmed.
Yeah, so he's in it. It's just nice to see they've got one. Yeah. Curse of the Mummy's Tomb.
There we go. I thought it might have been. No, it's Universal Monsters did it serialized. Yeah. The Mummy series. I'm sure we'll get around to that at some point, but there we go. There's that to look forward to. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Those who took part in the chat, and until next time, keep up to date with the channel, do the type of clicky things, and remember to keep it creepy, keep it horrific.